guys, welcome to another episode of Haunt Talk. I'm Kim, this is Josh. Today we are going to be doing a review on Bates Motel and Hayride in Glen Mills PA. Before we get started, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. Check out our Instagram and our Facebook page. Also check out our GoFundMe. We are trying to make a new haunted house documentary. We did one a few years ago, which is now free to watch on YouTube. And we'd like to just do a follow-up, check out some more haunts, show you a little bit behind the scenes. All the information and links are down below in the description in the video.
Right. So I guess that brings us into a review. So Bates Motel and Haunted Hayride, it's a haunted house, a hayride, and a trail. It's grown in popularity a lot over the years. You've probably seen it, and they've done tons of Travel Channel, places on it. This is like it's called like a bucket list haunt for us, so it was nice to go there. But the place is known for being very, very elaborate, almost Disney World-esque type scenes and props, so we were very curious to see if it really lived up to the hype or not. But yeah, it's all the places. The place is pretty far. I was really surprised there weren't more signs leading us to there. It was pretty easy to find, but there weren't lots of signs until you get right there, and you realize how big the place is when there's like actual road signs when you get close to it. It's telling you like if you're traffic for there, you're supposed to get on the curb of the road, and you're just like, okay, there was quite a few people there the night we went, but
it was quite awesome.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's 3 attractions. There's the hayride, which is your typical hayride. There's actual hay.
Yeah, actual hay, which is nice. A lot of hayrides you go to, they have like the school bus seats, or it's like weird. There's not really hay on your hayride. It's a wagon ride.
Yeah.
Liars.
And it's very interactive. They do touch you.
Yeah, that is allowed there.
They do come up, onto the hay wagon and play around with you and stuff like that.
Yep.
Then they also have a trail, which was Revenge of the Scarecrows.
Yeah, I believe something
like that. So it was like, kind of scarecrow theme, but then it also had some other elements in it.
They refer to it as a corn maze, but it's not. It's in corn, but there's no maze. Like, you don't figure out how to get out. You just walk a path. So it's not really a corn maze, but.
And then there was pretty much a traditional haunted house.
Yeah.
So let's get started with design. We gave this haunt a 10.
Yeah, it really is, like I said earlier, Disney World like, where the theming and just, it's insane.
it was just awesome. Like, you just, like, when you enter in, okay, for the hayride, when you enter in, you literally go into a castle.
Yeah, through a dragon's mouth.
Yeah, through a dragon's mouth. You got gargoyles.
They've actually detailed the throat. The throat that you're going through. It's
fantastic, and the fact that it's made for a hay wagon to go into was just like, wow. I
will say the hay wagons were the perfect size too. They were big enough to fit enough people, but small enough where the actors were really able to get you from all angles. I really liked the size. It was just intimate enough and stuff, and that was nice. And you're greeted by a fire-breathing dragon when you first come in, so that's cool. There's just, but yeah, the hayride is just literally scene after scene of just awesomeness.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's pretty original too. There is some stuff you expect to see, but there's also some really cool stuff that I was like, I don't know, I wasn't exactly. It was different. It was unique than what I've seen in other hayrides and stuff.
Yeah, because you got your typical like things that you see in that kind of, hay wagon stuff, like hillbillies,
there wasn't
things like that. But like at one point we go into a mine shaft.
Yeah, which is really cool because they build it on a hill, and they have it completely enclosed, so it looks like you're just going down into a cave. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was really neat. They had a zombie town.
Yes.
Which was kind of fun because the names of the stores were kind of like regular store names, but with a little zombie twist. Like there was Bloodbath and Beyond, Amber Zombie, and Twitch, and a few other really funny ones too.
There's a really cool slaughterhouse scene, which usually slaughterhouse is kind of overdone, but my God, this place with it. I mean, they have like conveyor belts of like meat and pigs and stuff. And there's a guy at the beginning. There was a pig that had his throat slit in a barrel, and it had the water coming out. And the guy would take the pig and like flop it out at the hay wagon, just spray water everyone, and it looks like.
Yeah, the girl that was sitting across from us kind of got soaked.
I got a little bit on me, but yeah, she got a couple people on that side. It was the right side of the wagon. They got really wet by it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that scene was just really. We didn't walk in there. We rode in there, and I'm just like, holy crap! There's just things moving everywhere. And I think that's a great way to describe this. The Hayride is it's kind of sensory overload, which actually makes it able for them to scare you because there's so much going on in the scenes of this place that you're just distracted. Like if you're not distracted by it, like I don't know if you have your eyes closed or what you're doing, but it's distracting.
There were caves with like dinosaurs.
Yeah, waterfalls. Huge animatronics. I mean,
a volcano.
Yeah, there's a volcano on top, which wasn't even like highlighted. I just looked up and I noticed it. I'm like, oh look, there's like, because they had it all lit like orange and like smoke billowing out of it. And it was just
the detail was just phenomenal.
I mean, when you were in there, like you really felt like you were in there. I mean, the light and like even like when you enter the place, because there's a waterfall coming down when you enter, and it really looked like you were going into like a little valley of dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. And the animatronics, you couldn't see the mechanisms much at all, which is nice. Like you kind of forgot they were animatronics because there was so much sound and like they were so like big and cool looking. They weren't just there. They weren't just there for looks. They were there for the distraction and to just kind of put you in awe. Yeah. They weren't just thrown in a shed like we've seen other places. Like look at this animatronic we bought. Like no, they were there in a scene with a purpose.
Mm-hmm. And next we're going to talk about the corn trail.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it had started like kind of drizzling while we were on the hay wagon, so the haunted the corn trail was kind of like not as many actors as I think normal because it was slick in there. It was very muddy and slick.
It was hard not to fall.
Yeah, and of course they don't want to scare you because you're gonna land on your butt.
We also had some really obnoxious people that found their way with us. Which again, this isn't anything of the haunt's fault, but it kind of dampened the experience for us even more. But they did put quite a bit of cool stuff in the trail. Yes. There's some cool scenes. There was a cathedral scene with a girl that she was like strapped on like a pulley system on the ceiling, so it looked like she was crawling across the ceiling.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool.
We're walking on a path in the cemetery and we look down and it turns out we're walking on tombstones. And the whole wives' tale where you're not supposed to step on graves. Well, it was a little too late because we were already like tromping over a bunch of graves because they were literally put in the pathway, which I thought was a nice little touch. And the actors actually mentioned that. They're like, you better not step on any graves. So that was funny.
That was cool. There's like a snake barn there.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was different. And of course, you're like circus theme. A lot of like people hiding in the corn and stuff. Mm-hmm.
There was also a slaughterhouse in there with a guy with a chainsaw, and he was really into it. He was dancing with the chainsaw.
He's dancing and just going up and rubbing people.
Yeah, like he was just swaying back and forth with his little chainsaw. Just happy as a clam. I think it was a really nice touch.
But yeah, the trail's really good. It's just unfortunate, like I said, it started raining and the other people with us kind of ruined that one for us. But it was still done really well, and I think it would be even better if it hadn't been wet because there was actors there, but it was like they were a little bit. It seemed like they were almost like reluctant to really try and get us because they didn't want us to fall because it was already a little uneven and stuff like that. But,
yeah, you could tell that they were hanging back because they didn't want to, have people all muddy.
I mean, I think even as good as the trail was, it's probably the least impressive of the three attractions, which leads us into the haunted house, which is, I think, like the definition of short but sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like 8 to 10 minutes long, I think.
Yeah.
God, they packed a lot in it.
Room after room was just so detail orientated. First one I need to talk about is the book room. That's all I'm going to say is the book room. I mean, it had these stacks of books everywhere. You thought for sure they were gonna fall on you. It was intense. Like, it was incredible.
The whole haunt was intense. Like we said, they're allowed to touch you, and like they touch quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
People grabbing you and stuff. I had this giant bunny kind of like roughhouse me a little bit, kind of grabbed me, pulled me back, and pushed me.
Yeah, he pinched me.
Yeah. There's people. I think I had my ankles grabbed a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's so many cool scenes, and again, like I said, for the Hayride, it's sensory overload, where it's so easy for the actors, and again, they pumped us through, because the line was long when we got to the haunted house.
Yeah.
And they pumped us through pretty quick, but they still scared the shit out of us, because, like, there's so much stuff, like, for example, the kitchen scene. Pots and pans are just rattling, the stove, everything's just opening and closing, there's stuff just moving everywhere, and, like, all the stuff's happening, and so you hear this noise, you look this way, and then an actor's here, and, like, the way the place is made and designed, it allows the actors that are in there to really like get you, because you're just looking around. You're like, what's that noise? What's that noise? You're like, oh crap, a person. Yeah.
And the attention to detail was so good that they even like paid attention to the ceilings.
Yeah, like there's a scene. I think it looked kind of like it might have been a wine cellar. I think it's kind of like a wine cellar, and it even had like the rounded ceilings and stuff that we were in. I might be wrong about it being a wine cellar, but it was something like that, like a basement kind of room. Yeah.
But it was like, usually when you go into haunted houses and stuff, they really don't care about that. Usually it's just painted black and everything else is all, done up. But this was like in some of the parts, the ceiling actually was part of the haunt. There was a part where there was a falling ceiling.
Yeah. Or like even like the first one of the first rooms we walked into, like they had the floorboards and they had like colored lights and fog coming out, and the floorboards are opening and closing. Like, even the floorboards were moving. Mm-hmm. Like that was really cool. Then there was the greenhouse.
The greenhouse, yeah. I had actually seen this, and I wasn't sure. I thought my eyes were like playing tricks on me, but there was a statue in this garden area, and let's just say it fooled me.
Yeah, usually, I mean, I've seen plenty of haunts that do that, where they have the thing that looks like a person, but this really looked like just a prop. Mm-hmm. Like, they had her done up where she looked like stone. I couldn't see any, like, discerning thing. Like, usually there's, like, bends at the arm or something you can see, but I couldn't see.
Well, she had her arms tucked, so it didn't look like she had any arms. Because, a lot of old statues, a lot of times the arms fall off.
I thought she was a prop.
Yeah, she had her arms tucked in, so it looked like she had no arms. And then she actually jumped out in front of me and put her arm in my face. Yeah. And it scared me, because I didn't believe it at first when I saw her move, and I was like, wait, no. And then when she did, I was like, oh my God, it really, really got me.
Yeah,
really got me.
It was really good. I mean, like the animatronics in the haunted house were good too. Like, so, there were so many things that were little animatronics. Just like, I mean, they had. Like, the entire place was like it was living. Books looking like they're falling. Like I said, the kitchen stove opening, the floorboards themselves moving. And the animatronics actually startled me a few times. Mm-hmm. Like, they would just come out of the ceiling at you. You said there's that huge Venus flytrap in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Huge, like, Grim Reaper there. I mean, God, we could just talk for hours about all of the things that are in this place. And the pyrotechnics also, like, especially on the Hayride, were insane. So many cool pyrotechnics and explosions and just fire flying at your face. So there's just a lot. But... so we could talk for days about that, so I guess we'll go ahead and move on to actors, which we gave them a 9.5. The only complaint we have about this is there was, again, in the cornfield, which might be because of the rain, there wasn't nearly enough actors in there. The haunted house had plenty. The Hayride, for the most part, had enough.
Yeah.
There was a couple spots here and there where it was like, well, they could have been like someone hiding in the woods, just like a rattle can. There was like tons in this one scene, but then there's like this dead space. It would be nice to have like one person or two like come out and entertain you for that minute of dead space. But I mean, whatever. They're all in character so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the guy on the Hayride, they grabbed that girl.
Oh yeah. So this guy, I think it was the like slaughterhouse area. He jumps up on the hay wagon, and he grabs this girl's ankle. And at first he just kind of tugs slightly on it, and she taken aback, and she's like, oh, and she goes to try to sit back down, and he's like, where do you think you're going? And grabs her and yanks her across the hay wagon.
He pulled her to like the end. Yeah.
Like almost all the way off of the hay wagon.
She's just screaming. Oh, man.
She's just, and it wasn't put on. Like
No,
she was just a regular
so
paying
freaked out by
customer. She was just shaken because, I mean, you didn't expect that. Like, you know, you expected the little tug, but not the drag across the hay wagon.
Right.
And it was good. Like, it scared all of us because we're like, oh my God, what's happening?
I can't remember all of them, but like they had they actually said clever things too. They wasn't like as generic as a lot of places are. Their lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I didn't like really, like usually there's a couple times where I roll my eyes a little bit. Maybe that happened like one time. Like the clown place was a little bit, you know, do you want to play? I don't know, that kind of, but like, for the most part though, like they were really good. I like the zombies on the Hayride a lot. They were very touchy, like zombies are. I mean, they were grabbing onto us, pulling our hair and stuff. And then right after that, there was, I believe it was supposed to be Norman Bates, because, you know, it's Bates Motel, so they actually have a Bates Motel section in the Hayride.
He was very interactive, and he kept saying some little quips and stuff like that. And I actually watched him walk away from the hay wagon as we were driving away, going back into his scene, and he was still in character, and he was, let's just say, prancing back to his area. He was dressed like Mother, of course, but he was like waving his little knife, and he was just like la 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 la, walking down the thing, which I thought was a really good touch, because I don't think he knew that anybody was watching him.
No. The actors are just great, you know,
So one last actor that we want to talk about is, there's a huge cathedral cemetery scene in the Hayride, and we're looking over, and if you're familiar with this Bates Motel, you've seen it on Travel Channel. Usually the scene they show is where this coffin comes out of this cathedral. Well, that was happening. Well, while that was happening, right in front of it was this guy who at first I thought was a mannequin coming out of the ground, like he was coming out of a grave. And then he ran at the hay wagon. It was a real person on like a little elevator that they put in the ground. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really awesome. Yeah. And they had people in the trees on bungee cords, a lot of people, you know, jumping out and reaching at you.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, and they did a really good job.
Yeah.
A really good job.
So next we're going to talk about scare factor. We gave them a 9.5.
Yeah. I think as far as hayrides go, because hayrides, it's really hard to be effectively scary. I can't imagine it being much more, aside from, like I said, a couple actors here and there and some of the couple dead spaces. That's about the only way to improve it, but I mean, they got us a lot, and I usually don't get got on hayrides very much, but this
not at all. And we were at the back of the hay wagon, and a lot of times people kind of get forgotten when they're at the back of the hay wagon.
Yeah.
And I have to say, they like really gave a lot of attention.
Yeah, they paid attention to it. Seemed like everyone. It looked like everyone was having a great time.
Everyone was getting something.
yeah, they were. And like I said, in the corn maze area, that was the least scary. But they still, a couple times, they actually, like, the woman on the ceiling scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, and like, there was a couple scenes, like, inside buildings where it wasn't as slick and stuff. There was a couple people that got me in there. Just because, you know, it wasn't really slippery in there, so.
Yeah, and then the haunted house got us quite a few. There's a lot. So between actors and animatronics and just things messing with you, that one got me. I screeched quite a bit. So I mean, overall, it was very, very scary. It's very high intensity haunted house. Like I said, I mean, they touch and all that. So there's a lot to be scared of. So that brings us to value, which we gave a 9 to. The place is a little pricey. It's $40 for all of the things, for the 3 things. You can buy tickets individually for $15 a piece, right? Yes, $15
it was
a piece.
$20 for the hay wagon, and then $15 for the trail and the haunted house each.
Right. So, I mean, if you can only do one thing, for sure, do the hayride. It's the best. You know, that's for sure the best. But I would recommend doing all of them for sure, especially the haunted house. And I mean, if you're going to do the haunted house and the hayride, you might as well spend the extra $5 and do the corn maze too, because it's definitely worth $5 to go through. So you might as well get the 40 in that. I mean, it is up there, and the fast passes to get for a quick pass is $75.
Yeah, that's double the price practically. Like, wow.
Yeah, and they did a great set. When we went, it wasn't crazy busy. It was pretty busy. We had to wait in a few real big lines. But they sent us through really quick. I would not recommend getting that $75 quick pass unless they are packed. Like, and you have to be somewhere. I would just arrive early, because that's a lot of money per person.
Yeah.
I said, $5 more and you're the double price of your general admission. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that unless you absolutely have to, because that's a lot. But like I said, it's good value. Highly recommend going to it. I mean, it's a little up there in price range, but so the Hayride's about 20-25 minutes. The Corn Maze took us about 10 to 15. And like I said, the haunted house is right about 10, maybe a minute, give or take a minute.
Yeah.
But for sure good value. So that leads us to our overall score.
We gave them a 9.5. This place is great.
Yeah, it is so good. Like I said, and so the only couple faults we had, was just maybe there weren't quite enough actors in a few places. And the Corn Maze was a little bit lackluster, even if it hadn't have rained. It still would have definitely been the weakest point of it. And honestly, if they could take that out and add like a couple more minutes to the Haunted Hayride, I would actually prefer that. Maybe make the ticket a little bit less.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, God, if you can make it to this place, check it out. It is something to behold. There's not much else that's like this place.
No, not at all. And there's other haunted houses in the area.
Yeah. Penhurst Asylum.
Penhurst is there as well. Eastern State
Penitentiary.
Yeah. It's not a far distance away.
Right.
So
There's quite a few others in the area. I mean, we wish we could have went to all of them, but money and time is a thing, and so we couldn't make it to all of them. But yeah, for sure, check these places out if you can. They're absolutely excellent. But that does it for this review, and as always, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Also, please make sure to watch our haunted house documentary if you like these videos. You're obviously into haunted houses, and it's free on YouTube. It's about 2 hours long, and it covers multiple different haunts and all the hard work that goes into them. We're also trying to make a second one, and as she mentioned in the beginning, we have a video describing everything we're trying to look for, trying to raise funds for that. Anything you can donate to us would help. And the music at the beginning of the video and that you'll hear at the end of this video is done by a man named Jerry Vayne. He makes haunt rock music, and his music is really awesome, and he was gracious enough to let us use it. So please make sure to check him out. Maybe buy some of his albums. Just had a new one come out. All right, thank you guys very much for watching.
Bye.